Imagine dedicating your entire life to an organization you believed spoke for God, only to realize that your loyalty was being used to restructure a corporation. In 2013, the Jehovah's Witnesses organization told members to start obeying the governing body at any cost, whether it made sense, whether it was practical from a human point of view. What members did not know is that the organization was preparing them for something massive. They thought they were being prepared for Armageddon, but the real Armageddon they were being prepared for shocked them when it came. It didn't look like the Armageddon they were expecting. If you are new here, welcome to the channel Religious Leaders We Should Never Discover. I'm Dr. K, a theologian, consultant, author, and polemist. In addition to 3 other degrees, I hold 2 PhDs and a degree in theology with distinction. But forget the diplomas. What sets this channel apart is our relentless pursuit for truth. If you crave for such deep dive, subscribe and smash the notice bell so that you don't miss what is coming next. The Doctrine of Obedience. The November 15 Watchtower Study Edition introduced a phrase that sent shockwaves through the organization. Though few realized it at that time, members were told that life-saving directions may not appear practical from a human standpoint, but they must obey it without question. Even when it didn't make sense, even when it was not practical from a human point of view.
Well, the events of the past 2 years have been historic, and they truly have been unprecedented. They indicate that we are close to the outbreak of the Great Tribulation. How vital it is, brothers, that we continue to recognize Jehovah's channel for receiving spiritual food. The November 15th, 2013 issue of the Watchtower mentioned key points for elders in particular to keep in mind as we prepare to face the attack of that coalition of nations that the Bible calls Gog of Magog. Now I'm going to quote the article. This is what it stated. This is quote, "At that time, life-saving direction that we receive from Jehovah's organization may not appear practical from a human standpoint. All of us must be ready to obey any instructions we may receive, whether these appear sound from a strategic or human standpoint or not. Now is the time for any who may be putting their trust in secular education, material things, or human institutions to adjust their thinking." Very sober words that apply so well at this particular moment. So, dear brothers and sisters, do you know what time it is? There has never been a more important time to stay alert spiritually and to respond quickly to Jehovah's direction.
So this was different. This was new. It wasn't just follow the elders. It was don't think, don't reason, just obey. By 2014, JW Broadcasting reinforced the idea. Obedience became the highest virtue, even above understanding.
Today's text and comments highlight 2 subjects. 1, a very important event. 2, a very important quality. The event is Armageddon. The quality is obedience. In fact, Josephus wrote that one of the reasons why the Roman army was so successful was that the soldiers were well trained, ready to obey. Now, how does that apply to us? Well, of course, we do not use literal weapons as soldiers do. Still, there is a similarity between those Roman soldiers in the past and us today. We too have to be well trained and ready to obey. Why? Because the obedience that we develop today will help us to obey life-saving instructions that we will receive from God's organization in the future. When the nations attack us and the war of Armageddon follows, showing obedience will be our protection.
But obedience to what end? Now, I did a video some months back where I was wondering where this obedience was leading to. And I think I've done 2 videos about it. In the first video, I asked the question whether JWs are going to be the next Jimmy Jones and People's Temple. But I have just discovered the real reason beyond this unreasonable and unquestionable obedience, demand for obedience. Here are some clips.
So, Peter, let's hear from you next. So, Peter, let's hear from you next.
Well, when we informed everyone that the publishers were going to be redistributed to the North or South congregation, let's just say some struggled with the idea.
Paula, did you see? They have us going to the South congregation and everybody else from our group is going to North.
Yeah, I saw that. My aunt and cousins will be going there too.
Well, that doesn't make any sense. They should keep you together. Well, at least the brothers said that the list was just a recommendation.
Well, they didn't say it exactly like that. They said if we had extenuating circumstances.
So you don't have to go if you don't want to go.
But Kim, if everyone did that, don't you think...
Hi, Sister Taylor.
Oh, hello, girls.
I saw your name on the list for the South congregation, but your grandkids and their families, they're going to North. So what are you going to do?
What do you mean?
Well, are you going to North or are you going to South?
Now, sweetie, didn't you say you saw my name listed under the South congregation?
Yeah, but...
So, I'll be going to the South congregation.
Well, don't you think it would make more sense if you were in the same congregation as your grandkids and their families?
Does it make more sense? Well, that's a whole different question. The brothers outlined an arrangement. They said they hoped we could support that arrangement, unless we had extenuating circumstances, and I don't have any right now. So, for me, it's simple. Whether I know all of the reasons or not, I'm going to support that arrangement. Oh, look, girls, I've got to go. Oh, and by the way, I hope to see you both in the South congregation.
Peter, you got a second?
I think this experience well illustrates one way to show courage now, and that's by following the direction of the brothers taking the lead, even if we don't fully understand the reasons why this direction has been given.
So let's ask our final review question. How can we prepare ourselves for the events that are to come? Sarah?
We want to develop heartfelt obedience to the guidance that we receive now, so that we'll obey any future instructions Jehovah may give us. And so doing this will help us survive Armageddon.
Mm-hmm. Well said.
But obedience to what end? The financial turn. Only a few months later, a financial revolution began. Letters from branch officers instructed elders to set up regular monthly contributions, a pledge system. Each publisher was asked to contribute a specific amount regularly on a monthly basis. Gone were the budgets and local independence. Congregations that saved money for repairs or for new kingdom halls were told to send the surplus funds to headquarters. From then, every kingdom became dependent on centralized funding, controlled entirely by the governing body. That was the coup that was done by the governing body over local congregations. In Norway, by 2014, local ownership of kingdom halls was eliminated. In the US, elders were told to pass a fixed amount resolution, about $8 per publisher. It didn't matter if the congregation was struggling. Obedience was expected. When some elders resisted, they were told, obey, even if you don't understand what you are being told. Just obey, even if it is not reasonable. They first published the obedience doctrine in the Watchtower Study Edition. Then they reinforced it with JW talks. Then they dramatized them to reinforce the idea of obedience. They anticipated rebellion, but they squashed it before it even began. Kingdom halls soared. Then came the great sell-off. From 2015 to 2017, the organization sold their iconic Brooklyn properties, real estate worth more than $1 billion, relocated to Warwick, New York, from the central business district to a countryside. Across the ocean, Britain's branch offices sold 29 properties in London, moved to Chelmsford. The pattern was the same everywhere: consolidation, liquidation, and centralization. Local congregations lost their halls. Communities had poured decades of donations into the kingdom halls that were sold. It belongs to Jehovah. But the deeds were signed off to Watchtower Corporation. Members grieved but didn't protest, because by this time they had been trained. Obedience first, understanding later. The financial control. Transparency is gone, even from members themselves. At the same time, new corporate arms were created, like Mina Asset Management and Lipta Payment Solutions, to handle investment and property portfolios. The Watchtower is no longer just a religious organization. It is a real estate and finance network. But what made this possible? Not just legal structure, not just paperwork. It was loyalty. It was obedience. A decade of teaching that questioning equals rebellion. Families were separated, congregations dissolved, and still many asked, why should Jehovah allow this? Not realizing this wasn't about faith, it was about control, the human cost. Behind every policy are real people, older witnesses who lost the hall they helped build, families who couldn't understand why they had to drive hours to the next congregation, publishers who gave money they couldn't afford, believing it was for Jehovah's work. The governing body demand for obedience was not just spiritual, it was practical. It prepared millions to accept the biggest financial overhaul in Watchtower history without resistance. And now, in 2025, as the organization hides its numbers and builds financial empires, many are waking up, realizing obedience was not about faith, it was about submission. If you are told obedience is the same as faith, you are not alone. Many have been there. But the truth is, your mind, your heart, your conscience were meant to be free. It takes courage to question in such an environment. It takes strength to rebuild, but you've already taken the first step. If this video has opened your mind and made you realize something you've never realized, like, subscribe, and smash the notice bell so that you don't miss part 2 of this video. To watch the video I mentioned about Jehovah's Witnesses demanding extreme obedience, in which I asked whether the Jehovah's Witnesses were going to be the next Me Jones and the People's Temple, click on this link. To watch all the videos in the series about extreme obedience, click on this link.